What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. Now, this is a new budget device from Samsung, and this model of the phone is the AT&T model. Now, in addition to being sold via AT&T, this phone is also being offered at a variety of other carriers, and it's also being offered internationally. So if you do have this phone, I'm definitely curious to know where you got it from. Now, if you do end up getting the device from AT&T, then this is the box that it does come in. So it is an AT&T branded box. And then inside of the box, of course, we get the phone itself. We also have some information here. So there is an AT&T Samsung Galaxy A13 5G quick start guide. We also have terms and conditions. We have a SIM card removal tool. And then we also have a double-sided USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. Now, this device does not come with a wall adapter, at least if you're getting it through AT&T. So keep that in mind. But I do at least appreciate that we are getting a double-sided USB-C instead of getting a cable that's USB-C on one end and then USB-A on the other. Now, with the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, we're getting a 6.5-inch display. So a pretty large display here with the phone. Now, the display itself features PLS TFT technology, but it is a 90 Hz display. So we are getting a faster refresh rate compared to the A12, for example, that we got last year. But also 90 Hz is really not found too often in entry-level devices like this one. So it is a nice premium touch that Samsung has given the phone. Now, the display is 720p. We're getting a PPI of 270. There's a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor. And we're getting an 81.1% screen-to-body ratio. So we do have relatively small bezels, but the bottom bezel is a little bit thicker, and of course we do have a water drop notch up top. Now, in that notch is a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, and stay tuned for my full review video of the phone, as I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from the cameras on the device. Now, at least with the AT&T model of the phone, it does feature 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and it also supports microSD card expansion. So if you do want to add a microSD card to offload some of your photos and videos, for example, then that definitely will free up some of the internal space. Now, since getting the phone, I have installed a variety of my own applications, and between that and the system software, I have already used up 33% of the total storage. So I'm definitely glad, though, that we are getting 64 gigs of internal storage, because if we got 32 instead, then we wouldn't have a whole lot of space left over. Now, with the Galaxy A13 5G, there is no wireless charging, but we do have a fingerprint sensor in the power button. So let's give that a try right now. Nice and quick. One more time. Definitely nice and fast and responsive there. And I'm definitely a fan of having the fingerprint sensor be on the power button versus being on the back of the phone. I just feel like it makes a lot of sense having it be right there. And then in addition to having the fingerprint sensor, this device also has face unlock. So I do appreciate that we do have multiple methods for accessing the phone. Now, with the Galaxy A13 5G, we do have a triple camera setup on the back of the phone, featuring a 50 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode. And this phone does have portrait mode for both the rear and front cameras. Now, here's how things look through the main camera on the camera app. Then from here, we can go over to the More tab to access the macro camera, where we can get very close up and have things be in very crisp detail. We can also go back here and go to Portrait to get those nice blurred out backgrounds. And then we can flip around to the front-facing camera and get the same thing here. And then if you want to take regular selfies, you also have that ability as well. One thing I did notice, though, is that when you go to the More tab, there really aren't that many different options as far as abilities and features in the camera app itself. So that is something to keep in mind, but we do at least have panorama, food mode, and pro mode. Now, the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G features 4 gigabytes of RAM in the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G processor. So it's definitely nice getting 5G connectivity, especially with an entry-level budget phone like this one, because 5G is definitely the future, and it'll definitely give this phone a bit more longevity, being able to connect to the newest and latest networks out there. Now, as far as performance goes, I'm actually decently impressed for a phone that is entry-level. Now, I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 5, and here's the scores that I got. So I got a single core score of 467 and a multi-core score of 1111. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of whether or not the Galaxy A13 5G is actually going to be a performance upgrade for you, because it is possible that your current phone could be faster. So definitely these scores mean nothing unless you're comparing them to scores on another device. So I do recommend running this test. But in general, I'm pretty happy with the performance, as I mentioned a second ago. And if you're looking to get a phone just for the most common smartphone tasks, like phone calls, text messages, occasional web browsing, social media, and also video viewing, then I do feel like this phone will perform fast enough to meet that criteria. Now, if you're someone who's constantly on your phone, then you might want to consider going for something a bit better than this device, more premium, because you probably will notice some downsides to having a phone that is more in that budget category. Now, video recording with this device does max out at 1080p for both the front and rear cameras. And with this phone, we're getting a 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery paired up with 15 watt fast charging. So I definitely appreciate that we're getting such a large battery with this device, as it will provide very good battery life. So definitely expect to get at least a full day of usage with the Galaxy A13 5G. Now, the software that we're getting here with the phone is Android 11 with Samsung skin laid over it. And at least for the AT&T model of the phone, we are getting NFC, which is really good to see here. So if you do like to make mobile contactless payments with your device, which is becoming more and more popular, then you can do that here with the A13 5G, which is something that you really don't find too often with lower end devices. Now, I already talked quite a bit about the front panel here, but essentially we're getting that water drop notch along with a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel. The display, while being nothing too special, isn't too bad either, and I do like that things do at least look nice and crisp and clear, and it's easy to read text on the phone. Now, taking a look at the left side of the device, we have just the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Then on the right side of the phone, we have the fingerprint sensor, volume down and volume up. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the device, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the speaker. And then on the back of the device, it's pretty simple. All we have is the Samsung logo, the camera module, and the flash. And then this material on the back of the phone is kind of a matte black plastic finish. And while it does pick up some fingerprints, it certainly doesn't pick up nearly as many fingerprints as a phone that has a glossy back. So in general, I'm pretty happy with the materials that this phone is made out of. Of course, nothing premium because it is made all out of plastic besides the display being glass. But at the same time, the phone doesn't feel cheap by any means. But in general, I feel like the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G is a pretty worthy successor to last year's Galaxy A12. And I'm definitely looking forward to comparing this device to that device here in the channel in the future. So definitely make sure to sub and look out for that content. But most importantly, I'm really curious to know what you think about the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. Do you think this is a good device from Samsung? Are you interested in getting one? Or if you've already bought one, then definitely let me know what you think. But this is my hands-on and first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.